What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fanatically Speaking. I'm Kent.
I'm Log Off. I'm the Log Off legend. And we're here to say everything that every fan is thinking, but louder and probably a little crazier. Get ready. This is Fanatically Speaking with Kent and Log Off. You know what's funny? Like, I'm not a social media hater. I'm a social media hater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that I get on the internet and start hating people on social media. That's not what I do.
The first half was absolutely horrible. You know, just inept offense, inept defense, special teams, you name it.
I'm going to turn into Oprah. Why were you so angry?
He sucks this season. This game, whatever's going on, right? And the very next pitch, guess what they do? They double homer, and he's like, "Told you, Dad. Why are you always knocking down people?"
You got the highs and the lows.
Yeah, so I do that.
You need the highs and the lows, and
so I do that. Yeah, but
I'm trying to be the voice of reason here.
I am what I am. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fanatically Speaking. I'm Kent.
I am the Log Off legend. Our podcast is about we're sports fans, and this is a podcast for sports fans. As said in previous episodes, we don't have any allegiances to anybody except for our teams, much like you do.
Yeah, go Birds. And and that leads us into today's episode in our first topic, our hatred for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it's a strong hatred that's shared amongst many.
Yeah, and I think we probably got both different backstories. Again, we are both Philadelphia Eagle fans, if you didn't know it. And that adds into it, right? It's a rival. So that,
within the division.
And what I bring up is if I want to go back to when I was a kid, again, I had to grow up as an Eagles fan in the 90s and late 80s, right?
Why did you have to?
Well, that's what I was. But I'm saying, you know, again, watch Randall Cunningham play. Instantly, I'm an Eagles fan, right? No football here in Charlotte at the time. That's how I became an Eagles fan. But at the time, guess who was really good, getting good in the early 90s? The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, of course, when you're, especially when you're kids in school and stuff, and even now, you see, like, all of a sudden there's Chiefs fans everywhere, right? Back then, Cowboy fans.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. All of a sudden, everybody's a Cowboy fan. And, of course, you know, you go to school with your Eagles jacket on, they're going to make fun of you because Eagles had some good years, but the Cowboys were really good, right? They're winning Super Bowl. They're up there. They got Aikman. They got Emmett. They got Irvin. Then they get Dion. They got it all, right? So that's tough growing up. And then, you know, you've got, after Randall, you got Rodney Peete. You know, you got Bobby Hoying. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, okay, where's our quarterback? And then, of course, thank God, Donovan McNabb.
Hold on. You have to understand that you are naming Eagles players that I'm sure that some of these people who are listening to this have never heard of before.
Well, as a famous phrase is Google it.
Yeah. Oh, Google it for sure, because I'm certain that they never heard of those names.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's how bad they were.
I mean, no, it was
It also
bad.
proves my point.
Yeah, it was bad, and you know, like my hatred is pretty unique for the Cowboys. It's during that time I hated any team or franchise that was winning. So during my Cowboys hatred, I also hated the Bulls because of Jordan, and Jordan was Jordan, and
right.
Everybody had the shoes, and everybody's wearing Bulls gear, and I put the Cowboys side by side. But it's interesting how the Cowboys' hatred has sustained itself. Nobody hates the Bulls. You know what I mean?
No.
And if you think about it, even with all that success Jordan had, no one loves the Bulls either. The Cowboys' hatred is unique in itself. It's like a fungus that keeps on growing, keeps on giving. And it's why they're so popular, because of the hatred. It's like the Floyd Mayweather effect, where so many people would watch his fights simply to see if he can get knocked out. And the Cowboys are in that same box. They're in that same sandbox.
Yeah, for sure. And the difference, I think, in the Cowboys and Bulls are, you know, the Cowboys do have that history, right? They did have success early on, the Tom Landry years. And football, of course, is bigger than basketball. So I think that's a part of it. You know, they got America's team, I think, before they were labeled that, and then they got it again, through the 90s. But again, you know, what makes it hard for me sometimes is you meet Cowboy fans, and we've got friends who are Cowboy fans.
Yeah.
And they're good people. They're nice people. And what I tell them every time I meet them and they say they're a Cowboy fan, I'm like, man, you're just too good of a person to be a Cowboy fan. But what's funny about that is I get the same thing when they find out I'm an Eagles fan. And because you got these people who say Eagle fans, they're awful, they're nasty, they do all this, and so be it. And I can't argue with that. And the quickly I have that experience of going to Eagle games in Atlanta and them Eagle fans throwing beers down on people, and then there's just a melee in the upper level. So I get it. You know, they threw snowballs at Santa Claus, and they cheered Michael Irvin breaking, his neck. So they were, I get it. But at the same time, that's what's funny about the Dallas Cowboys is, again, they've got fans everywhere. They've got the younger fans, but then they've really got a lot of older fans. And I get that. Those are the ones I say, look, I get it. Back in the day, you were either Washington or Dallas, right? But again, so I get that part, but the younger people, it's kind of like you're just jumping on, like, what bandwagon are you jumping on? Because that wagon left 30 years ago.
Yeah, it left them 30 years ago. And also, it's, a lot of this has to do with why I don't enjoy social media. They're going to run to whatever is popular.
Yes.
And the Cowboys are popular for whatever reason. And I feel like I need to, like, duck down because I feel like secretly that Stephen A. Smith is going to come out of nowhere and drop kick me in the head for stepping on his corner by being a Cowboys hater. But, it's been a great benefit to his career. Loving all the horrible downfalls that the Cowboys have. Pick a season. So it's fun. It's fun to see. It's fun to be a part of that side of things. But ultimately, I think that's what makes them so popular. Is this is in perpetuity. It'll never end. The Cowboys could lose for another 20 years and still be as popular because. I know you were upset that they were the game of the week.
Yes.
Okay? You're upset that they were the game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
However, millions of people watch that game. And
I know.
And a huge chunk watch that game just to watch them lose. So, you got to take the good with the bad,
And I understand that. I get it. They get ratings for whatever reason, right? They get ratings. And a part of that is, again, you talk about that, the networks, right?
Yes.
They're putting on the Cowboys and Bears
Correct.
For some unknown reason, game of the week. Could easily been a 1 o'clock game because that got away from them fast. But then you talk about the next morning, and it's Get Up on ESPN, and they're leading with the Cowboys and the Bears. And that's part of the problem is ESPN, but they've done this, because, again, they've done this before. They do it with the Cowboys every single year. It's a story all through the summer. Like I said, I think I text you during the summer, and I was like, baseball's going on, and this is going on, and this is going on. And today, First Take, Get Up, all these shows are talking about the Dallas Cowboys. We're previewing their season. That's a waste of time because it's going to happen. But again, ESPN does this. They did it, Tim Tebow running with his shirt off in the rain. Mm-hmm. Whatever LeBron does, win or lose, they're going to talk about him. Doesn't matter. They're going to lead with LeBron Lakers. They're going to lead with Cowboys. So they do it. And I get that, and that's part of it, is they're feeding into the system, the monster that is the Dallas Cowboys, that, again, they are what they are. And I understand part of it, but, again, that also is the popularity and all this stuff comes together. So, and here's what we get, and that makes people hate it. Like you brought up Jordan. Winning, of course, does it, and then, again, it's just shoved down your throat. And you're just like, God, I can't take any more.
Yeah. So there's I have an internal conflict because I love and understand what media is as a business and an industry. And I know that, I've worked for a media company. I understand that at some point you want to do the thing that gets you the clicks.
Of course.
You got to keep the lights on, right? So I understand why Get Up leads with, why every sports show leads with, the Cowboys took an L. Here's how this happened. And so, But your perspective is that of a true fan. That's real frustration.
Oh, for sure.
As why? Yeah. Why are we rewarding this bad behavior?
Yes.
Why are we buying the lollipop for the kid having a tantrum on the floor? Yeah. And while I feel you, and I feel that in my heart, the other side of me is we got to get this money. Okay, this is, we're not gonna have a game like that we know everybody saw, that is everywhere news-wise. We have to talk about it. It stinks. I get it. And we get sick of hearing it because we know the Cowboys are trash. But at the same time, it's like, we got to cash these checks.
Yeah, I completely, like I said, once again, I get that part. You're going to make the money. You want the clicks. You want all the likes. You want the eyeballs. But it's again, it's one of those where there's this other half of people who don't want to hear about the Cowboys all the time. And again, here's the thing. Maybe they're doing. Maybe they're just hoping that this is the season, so they can say they covered the season and they've got it documented that this was the year that they, got at least to the NFC Championship, maybe the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? But maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. Brady Patriots went through it, but now nobody cares about the New England Patriots. So the Cowboys, like you said, it will go forever.
It's forever. It is. Listen, there's some things that I know. I know that when I wake up in the morning, the sun will always rise. Might be cloudy, but the sun is up there. And the Cowboys will always be the most beloved and hated sports franchise in American history. It's never going away, man. It's ingrained in the culture.
They're up there. And I mentioned LeBron, but it's the Lakers. It's the Celtics. Mm-hmm. It's the Yankees.
Yes.
It's the Cowboys, right?
It's the Cowboys.
I mean, those are just probably just a few that they've got history in their leagues. They've been around. They've got a big fan base, and that's what it comes from. All right, so next is this current story. This current, been going around is Drew Brees calling the Philadelphia Eagles boring. Their offense boring. And again, not, we may get a little touchy about the Eagles, and I promise everybody we don't just talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, but when you're the Super Bowl champion, you're kind of important, and us as fans, we're going to talk about that. They plan on playing defense. You know what I mean? Trying to hold teams to field goals. That's their MO. But the only issue with that is, again, it's kind of like the other conversation we had about Jalen Hurts and, well, he doesn't throw for 300 yards every game and all this, but you've seen him do it again. And he did it recently again. Even being called boring the day after, or whatever day that was, it was still like, hey, yeah, boring first half, second half, airing it out. So Super Bowl, airing it out. So they have the weapons, and I don't know about you, but also is he just, I don't know, I didn't get the if he was just talking about now.
So
like last year.
So I'm glad you said this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to read the quote.
Okay.
From Drew Brees. I got this from a Yahoo Sports article, so I quoted this as verbatim. Quote, "I respect Philly. They are winning games. They are finding a way to win games. I can't stand to watch that offense. It's the most boring offense. It is. I'm sorry." End quote. So he acknowledges the fact that they're a good team. He acknowledges the fact that they are winning games. Mm-hmm. He acknowledges the fact that they're finding a way to win games, which out of any sport that exists, it's hard to find ways to win games in the NFL from week to week, especially when you're the Super Bowl champions and you know that you're going to get everyone's best shot. So the short-sightedness that I have with Brees is the fact that he said this after the best finish to a game that's happened so far this season. That's the first thing. But the second thing that's confusing is he was so stuck on his point that he didn't even realize that he was saying that at a time when it's least relevant. If he would have said this earlier in the season, no one would have and go, okay, yeah, I kind of get that. But not only the way that they were playing that game wasn't working. It wasn't working. They totally changed their offense, came out, went gangbusters, and then their defense steps up and wins the game for them in an astonishing fashion. So I don't know if he was just saying it trying to be a splash. I'll be honest. I hadn't been watching First Take in a long time. I had no idea that Brees was going to be a host or a guest on there, okay? So maybe this was something that he just wanted to make a name for himself. But it's like it's telling someone they can't cook after you've already eaten their 5-course meal. Dumbest thing ever, worst timing of all time, and I don't have a lot of bad things to say about Brees. Okay, I just don't. He overachieved. He overcame so many things as a player that I don't want to disrespect him and what his resume is. I'm not going to do that. But logically, I don't think that he's a dumb man, and I think he said this specifically to get this reaction. And kind of feel like a sucker for giving it to him by giving him the reaction that he wanted.
Right. But it does give his talking points, so that's a good thing.
It gives us content, sure, but I mean, come on, man. Like I said, the timing couldn't have been worse. Couldn't have been worse.
For sure. But also, again, he's forgetting about, and I'm going to try to get into what he's thinking maybe. Like, I got the quote, but then what's in his – is it just that they had – again, is it that bad half? Is it this season so far? Because it took Jalen a minute to get going. But, last year, what's pretty exciting? Watching Saquon Barkley get 75-yard breakaways.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Running through the snow in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That was exciting. That's not your normal, you know what I mean? So is it the tush push? Back to that again, right? Is that boring?
So let's do this. So I told you before we started this, it's one of my new favorite things in life is catching you off guard with something that you don't see coming.
Yes.
So right off the top of our head, this is not rehearsed. This is us just talking. Yep. Okay. Off the top of your head, can you name any other NFL team in your life that you would call boring? Go.
Man, off the top of my head,
off the top of your head.
Again, it goes to, being local, right?
Okay.
The Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
They were called boring a lot under John Fox.
Okay.
Because he was conservative, you're right? He would, and Ron Rivera was too a little bit before he became Riverboat Ron, right? So just the way John Fox wanted to run the ball, play defense, and then, occasionally, hey, Delhomme, throw it up for Steve Smith, right? Throw it up to Musa Muhammad, right? So being here in Charlotte, having to watch Panthers because that's what was on TV, and we didn't have Sunday ticket. So, watch the Panthers be like, it could be boring. Like, you ask their fans the same thing. Like, if you lived in that era for John Fox and a little bit of Ron Rivera, that's the only ones that come to mind because, I didn't live in the 1960s and 50s or whenever they wore leather helmets.
Yeah, and listen, yeah, and all those games were boring, and I mean, every great quarterback had 20 touchdowns and 15 interceptions.
You also was listening to it on the radio.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, it wasn't nationally broadcast.
So I think in life, in time, there's been boring football, but yeah, recently I would say like the Panthers. They had the way John Fox coached and ran that offense and he defense. Let's hold them. Let's punt instead of going for it. He wouldn't have survived in today's NFL.
No, not at all. No, they would have fired him.
Those analytics, right? Yeah, he wouldn't like analytics.
No, not at all. And I'm going. We got a few more minutes left in this segment, so I'm going to counter your point.
Yep.
I think the difference between that comparison and what we're looking at with the Eagles is how much winning did the Panthers do as a direct result of their boring style of play.
So they did go to a Super Bowl.
Okay.
And credit to John Fox, he took the Broncos to the Super Bowl.
He did.
Now they got absolutely walked over, run over, beat down by the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
So good for John Fox. You make 2 Super Bowls. You lost both of them. The Panthers was a better one, obviously, if you know that. It was a shootout.
But the Panthers were never national headline, this team's boring, while kicking everyone's ass.
While winning Super Bowls, going to Super Bowls, going to the playoffs every year. No, to call them boring is – but you know what? I'm going to get it to real quick. I'm going to go to another sport, another team that I'm a fan of, the San Antonio Spurs, right?
That's a great one.
Yeah. So
wow, that's a great
so
point.
If you watch the Spurs with Pop and Duncan and Ginobili and Parker and all them, it was sweet science. right?
Correct.
Watching them move the basketball, watching them play team basketball was beautiful if you're a basketball, fan or whatever you want, enthusiast. I don't know what you want to call it. But me being a Spurs fan, I liked it. You know why? It wasn't boring to me. You know why? Because they won.
But here's
they got those chips, man.
And
winning is everything. So yeah, to us as the fans of those teams, it's not boring. I could see to the outsiders. I understand where it could be boring because, again, I go back to that tush push, and I'm going to let you go. And it's, but why wouldn't it be exciting if you're a fan of another team? It should be exciting for your team trying to stop that tush push.
Well, also,
if that's his reasoning.
But also, and yeah, so the Spurs is a great one. I've never put those two together. Big fundamental. Basic basketball principles, pick and rolls,
the backboard.
The flashiest player they had was Ginobili. And that's a really good comparison. And they did win a lot, and people did complain about it a lot. That's a damn good one. You caught me off guard with that one. However, from an NFL standpoint, I don't think there's an equivalent to what we're seeing with the Eagles, where it's so loud that the complaint is that they're winning in such a fashion that it makes it boring.
But you know what? It makes me happy just a little bit, right? We mentioned the Cowboys before, hating them because they win. Guess what? That's why everybody hates us. Because we win.
Because you're winning.
That's right.
That's a fair one. No, I like that. I like that a lot. All right, Kent. So you had a topic on here about the WNBA. You've got a couple of points that you wanted to touch on. So you wanted to touch on just the WNBA as a whole, expansion, the players wanting pay raises. We've seen some of the I'm not going to say antics that some of the players have participated in, wearing T-shirts and, threatening holdouts, things of that nature. Their ratings, the quality of play, and right now, their playoff run. So off the top of your head, where did you want to lead with this? I'm just going to follow your lead on this topic.
I think as a whole, like just the WNBA, they have, as a growing sport, as a growing league, since its inception, what was it, 25 some years ago, they just seem they can't get out of their own way. That's what I think about. Yeah, the WNBA, like I said, they can't get out of their own way. It just seems, and I don't want people to take this as a knock. I'm not knocking the WNBA. I'm rooting for the WNBA, right? So first is, obviously its popularity has grown, right? But then it was, well, who takes the credit of that popularity? And they had this person, you may have heard of her, Caitlin Clark, come upon the scene. And that's kind of past now, right? But you probably see that ratings are down, attendance is down. I think just the coverage of the WNBA is down right now with her being injured. Her team is in the playoffs. That's a whole nother thing, right? But that was one issue recently that was going on, right? Who gets the credit? What about all the people before her? And there were some really great players. And again, I watched the WNBA when it started, right? We had a Charlotte Sting here. You had the Houston the Comets, New York Liberty, Los Angeles Sparks. So those teams have been around, but like now though, again, it's like, why can't we just like take what you got when it comes to you? Like Caitlin Clark got here, and she is, for whatever reason, for many reasons, she was popular. Fans pick who they pick. You know what I mean?
So who are you talking to? Like, are you talking to WNBA fans or fans of the W? Like
fans are.
Yes, yeah, like people who are fans, right?
Yeah.
So is this more for the general public who's kind of maybe piling on, maybe wanting to give credit to, like you said, to give credit to those that came before her? Or is this more of a, you want those fans? Because I think that true fans of the WNBA embrace it as a whole. And here's my strongest point. we've, you know this, and this was said in previous episodes. I'm a fan of the NBA as a product. I do not have a favorite team. I support the entire league. Okay, so it doesn't matter which teams are doing well, which teams are doing poorly. I'm a fan of that product which is rare in a lot of ways. So I can understand if there's someone who's a fan of the W, maybe they have their own allegiances, maybe they're the players, maybe they're the teams. But I guess my confusion is like what you just said specifically. Who is it targeted at? Is it more of coverage? Is it more of, social media fodder? Where, or a combination? Like, is it a smoothie of this nonsense?
So with the popularity, with the who's it? Yeah, I think it's a smoothie. I think it's like it got popular, but it really got popular with Caitlin Clark.
Okay.
And again, this is a guy who, I've been accused of just like not liking women's basketball. And I'm like, no, that's not it. Like, and I got a couple more notes on that I just needed. I wanted to grow, but I needed to grow. Caitlin Clark was a reason. Like, I started watching Iowa. Like
women's college basketball.
Yeah, women's basketball with Caitlin Clark, because I'm like, let me see what this is about. And you watch it, and I'm not saying that Caitlin Clark's the best player that ever walked on that court, right?
Gotcha.
Like, I know skill, and she's got her flaws, and that's going to point me to the rest of the WNBA. Everybody's got flaws, which so does the NBA. But let's not make it something that it's not. We still, it's still growing, right? But when you talk about raises, right? And that's a whole nother, again, it is well known, if the NBA said today, we're no longer supporting the WNBA, they're probably going to fold, right? And that's just truth. That's not saying, that's not, again, a knock on the WNBA. It's just, you're not there yet. But in the meantime, what is your, what are you bringing to the table? Now you say, I think you're going to probably bring up what they got a new TV deal.
Yeah, so they've got and this is where the nerd side of me comes out from a sports business. I love sports business. So questions about expansion, questions about the new television rights deal, and they also keep in mind, I forget the name of it, it escapes me. They do have an adjacent competitor with the league. It takes place down in Miami.
Okay.
I forget the name of it, but there is a WNBA competitor where they play in the offseason, and they acquired a ton of stars to come in and play.
You're talking about the 3-on-3 full court.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. So different, not traditional basketball, but there's a market there. But that can be capitalized on, and the only reason they're doing that is because they see it as an option to have live sports programming that people will watch. I'm not a huge WNBA fan. I myself started watching more women's college basketball because of Caitlin Clark, and I found myself watching WNBA basketball more because of Caitlin Clark. She is the star that has drawn people in. So, every league needs that. The NBA needed Bird and Magic. They needed Bird and Magic. They needed the merger with the ABA.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So it's a growth process, and they're going to need these insertions of newfound energy to grow as a sport. And people want to say, well, basketball is basketball. What makes women's basketball different from men's basketball? It's completely different. Totally different sport. And I do think that there's a healthy growth pattern there for them. This spurt that they have now is I think it's taking place a little too fast. I wish that it was a little more natural. But ultimately, I think they'll be okay. Caitlin Clark will be healthy, and she'll have a decade worth of career where she's going to lead, sports talk radio. She's going to lead sports television, but it's just going to take a little time.
Yes, but with that is the quality of basketball.
Okay,
right, and there are some good players in the WNBA. Right?
Yes,
so they are growing. They did get the Golden State Valkyries, right? So they added a team.
Yes,
but now, so they want more money. Which, who doesn't want more money at their job, right? But there's a lot that goes into that. And then, like you said, then you're going to expand more. And this is like, again, you're talking about Toronto and Portland next year. Then after that, Cleveland, Detroit, Philadelphia. So you're going to expand 6 teams. And this is, again, not a knock. Because I'll tell you, when I watch bad basketball, I watch the NBA, I watch in the regular season, like you said, there's a lot of bad basketball.
A lot.
If you watch the Summer League, I had to turn it off. I can watch that down at the Tuck Gym here in Mount Holly. I can watch some bad basketball from pickup, right? At the Y. I can watch that. I don't need to watch the Summer League, right? But a little bit. If there's Cooper Flag was playing, let me watch them, then I'm done, right? So preseason football but just sticking to basketball, exhibition, like I don't want to watch it. So not to say that all WNBA basketball is bad, but I've watched enough to say, hey, if you want to take that next step, you got to make layups.
Okay.
Like if you're not dunking,
so you
there's only a few dunking.
So you beat me to my closer. My closer was, what does it take as a basketball product to get you to watch it consistently as a fan?
So I need better basketball all the way around. And that includes Caitlin Clark, by the way. I mean, this is not, again, saying, oh, my God. Like, once again, Asia Wilson, really good basketball player, by the way. Well-deserving.
Yes.
Like I know talent when I see it,
yes,
right?
Yes, well-deserving.
Inescu, really good basketball player.
Yes.
I've watched enough, in back in the day, and we can name off names all day long. But
oh, my God, Taurasi. Goodness.
Taurasi is great, right?
Yes.
Lisa Leslie.
Yes.
Rebecca Lobo.
Cheryl Swoops. Dawn Staley. Dude, we go all day.
Yeah. Cynthia Cooper. I mean, they're out there. Look them up. It's been a while. But there's ballers out there for sure. But to expand this many teams when I don't think the rosters they have now have enough talent. Okay. So you're going to feel – now the Valkyries are having a good year, which was surprising to me, right? For an expansion team. But I think we talked about this before. In sports now, it doesn't matter what sport it is. They get those teams going up and running quick.
Yeah. So that's gonna kind of be my last point on this. Mm-hmm. Is the reason for the expansion is when you get that money coming in, the first thing you want to do is spend it and invest in yourself. They're investing in the product. I think that they see an upside. I mean, 6 extra teams is massive. When it comes to looking at your financial statements, when you're looking at that spreadsheet and you get to see the revenue, the additional revenue, it adds to the TV product. It's more games that you can broadcast. And live sports as a commodity is one of the rare things that you can say, hey, I've got this many people watching this live. So from a growth health standpoint, I understand what you're saying, but I think they're looking at it purely from this money is here now. Let's try to get it while the getting is good. And I'll say this, I think it's only I'll give it 3 years before you start to see WNBA franchise owners go ahead and selling their teams and offload and cashing out while the valuations are at a high.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a money play, and we're fans and we want to love and embrace our sports. I think this is more about bank accounts above the product of basketball, just to me.
Okay,
that's just how I see it.
And that's a fair point. And then we're going to cut it off here in a minute. But once again, though, you talk about TV, more games. But again, if that quality is not, if it's poor, no one's going to watch it. And ratings matter because that's going to equal money, viewership. You know what I mean? So again, build up these star players, build up everybody, and let's get it. You should do that. They should. They gotta do better marketing. They do a really good job now for the most part. But
they should. But they're greedy.
They are a little bit.
They
They want it all.
They want it all, and they want it all now.
But it'll come. It'll come. Hopefully. Again, I'm rooting for them. Wish the best for them. Just give me something to watch. All right, now the next topic that we're going to talk about is our I don't know what you want to call them. Like we like these off the wall random topics, right? So one I came up with was what would be worse? What would be a worse sports moment to happen to you as a professional athlete, right? How is this going to affect you And the three options, and we're going to try to think of some examples. I've got some, but what is it? The game's on the line in the NBA, and you miss a shot or a free throw that could win the game, tie the game, right? I'm sure, and I'm going to bring up some examples of that. What if you miss that game-winning field goal in the Super Bowl? Not just the game, the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Gotcha.
And we can even go to NBA final playoffs. We can go to playoffs for field goals too. And then what about that walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth?
Well, you're the pitcher that gives it
and
up.
You're the pitcher. So how do you feel if you're the pitcher, you're the player, or you're the kicker?
Okay.
Which is worse? Like, which would be the worst feeling?
All right. So I feel like I'm going to nail this. I feel like I woke up this morning ready for this question. I had no idea it was – you sent this to me earlier, and I'm like, I got you, dude.
Yeah.
So I would like for you to lead off.
Okay.
And
what I think is the worst, or just give examples?
I would like for you to lead off for what you think is the worst. And then I'll see – let's see where we are with that.
Okay, so just to get into it, I don't know of a time that I can just go now personally. I don't know of a time that I missed a shot that would win the game.
Okay.
I have made a shot to win a game. But again,
of course you did. You get buckets.
That's me. Here I am patting myself. And again, guys, I don't want to get this twisted real quick, but I was not like a superstar player, by the way.
I gotcha.
Maybe as I got older. But I have give up home runs.
Okay.
I didn't play football, right? So I know what it's like to give up a home run. It's not a great feeling. It's also not a great feeling when your son gives up a home run, by the way. But yeah, my personally, I think my reasoning too is going to be is missing a field goal.
Okay.
And there's a couple reasons why, and especially in the Super Bowl. And yeah, I got Scott Nord up here. Like I said, I mentioned that earlier to you that the Buffalo Bills, that was their real shot at winning the Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
And again, he overcome it. And you gotta be mentally tough to overcome that and live with that you had it and you missed it, right? So all that, you can say whatever you want to say. Teams can say, oh, well, it's a team game and blah blah blah, whatever. But we lost as a team. But as a kicker, like the eyeballs are on you. In that moment, it's on you. You don't do anything else the rest of the game.
Gotcha.
But they bring you in
as the specialist
to say,
hey, do the one thing.
Hey. This
that
is
wins
all,
it for everybody.
This is all you do.
Got it.
Right? You don't tackle. You don't do anything. You're a part of the team, and kickers are, right? I mean, like they created this game, and they included kickers to kick field goals, extra points, all that fun stuff. But to me, yeah, missing the field goal, especially in the Super Bowl, I mean, that's gotta be rough. You know what I mean? Because again, especially with the millions of people watching, and you just shank it, you just hook it. And again, I couldn't imagine doing it. Like
Gotcha.
Like I said, you again, if you play sports, you feel the nerves of the game anyways.
Okay.
I think most athletes say they get nervous every game. Most people do. You're human, but yeah, to be in that moment, to know it's on you. Now, unless of course the laces were out.
Laces are in. Okay. I'm gonna come with an example.
Okay.
And this is not a competition, but I feel like I'm going to obliterate your answer. All right. It's missing free throws.
Oh.
And here is why. So the clear-cut example in this is Nick Anderson.
Ooh.
Ruined his career. Arguably one of the main reasons why Shaq ended up leaving. We know there were some contract disputes with we're talking, just for context, for people who may not know. So we're talking about Nick Anderson, who was a guard for the Orlando Magic in the finals, playing against the Houston Rockets. It was 1995. Game 1. He missed 4 consecutive free throws, okay? And the following year, I want to say, and this is off the top of my head, I did not look this up. I want to say his free throw percentage fell the following year. It stuck with him, missing those free throws in the final. The next year, from the free throw line, he shot anywhere from 40 to 50% from the free throw line. It ruined him. Not only ruined him, ruined the franchise to the point where Shaquille O'Neal, the most dominant big man ever, left. Penny Hardaway was having injury issues, but it took them years to recover from what happened in game 1 of a finals, okay? the Rockets were, maybe they were a better team. Okay, it's quite possible, and maybe they would have won anyway. But they would have been able to take that game one. It would have changed kind of the math and the history of how NBA Finals series go by the first team to win game one. But the reason why I say it's better than a kicker, a better example than a kicker missing a kick to win the Super Bowl is Nick Anderson had to go back out there and play the majority of the minutes on that court for the rest of that series. That kicker gets to sit on the sideline. He gets to drink his hot cocoa. He gets to, yuck it up with the coaches, and they just send him out there to go kick. Nick Anderson had to go out there and play. He had to play defense. He had to run plays. He had to remember plays. He had to set up plays. He had to set screens. And all the while all that's in his head, he had to suffer the rest of that series while they lost that finals. I just think it's more impactful than that kicker missing that kick and then going home and then dealing with it on his own.
I'm gonna agree with you to an extent, right? And here's my reasoning is with the kicker. I will say it takes his teammates, right? They gotta hike it. He's gotta hold. They gotta hold it.
Yes.
So
the line's got to hold.
With the free throw, Nick Anderson or whoever.
It's just him. It's him, a basketball, a 10-foot rim, and millions of people watching, all eyes on you. And with all that, he still had to go out there and perform after missing those free throws in the next game, the game after that, et cetera. So
and that makes sense. I didn't know you was going to go with that example, but you know what example I'm going to go with.
Go.
Is that damn Kawhi Leonard? Dang. I mean, of all the good he did in San Antonio, I still hold a grudge for him leaving. So I have to bring up that in Miami, all he had to do, I don't care how young he was, all he had to do was hit his free throws. They had the court lined off. They had the trophy ready. They had the locker room draped in plastic. They had the champagne on ice. They had the goggles fitted. They were ready. They had it. The Miami Heat fans had left. They gave up. And Kawhi Leonard could not make the free throws. But your example is better. I just want to throw some shots at Kawhi Leonard because, he left San Antonio. And he killed the dynasty.
Hey, stay tuned, guys. It's plenty more shots at Kawhi Leonard.
That's right. I'm always down for that.
Listen, that chamber holds all the rounds for Kawhi Leonard. He's going to get all the hate. All the hate's coming up.
All right, so that's another episode of Fanatically Speaking with Kent and Log Off Legend. I don't want to forget all your title.
Yeah, Log Off Legend.
Either way, right?
Yeah, the hater of everything social media related. That being said, follow us on social media. Follow us on TikTok, IG, YouTube, Facebook. We are available on all podcast outlets. We are there. We are up and live. So engage with us. Ask us questions, post, comment, review, and we'll do what we can to make sure to get back to you. That's why we're doing this. We want as many people to hear as possible. And, we're on all these platforms, and we're going to do what we can to keep putting content out, some nice, fresh content, hopefully new, some things that you never heard and seen before.
One more thing. We want you to follow, like, comment, share, listen.
Yes, please share. Share, promote, forward it to your friends. Forward it to people online, and have them chime in, have them listen, and we enjoy that feedback. And we've already gotten some feedback from some really good sources already. And actually, some of that feedback was one of the topics today on the show. So please, absolutely, make sure to do that. It's important, and we want to make sure that we can keep putting things out for you. You good, man?
It's a wrap.
All right, yeah, that's a wrap. Let's go ahead and kill it.